If you've been in the market for a cheap soldering station or maybe your first soldering station, chances are you've come across this Chinese brand called YIHUA. That's how I say it, Y-I-H-U-A. Yeah, and you're probably wondering if they're any good because they have lots of great reviews on Amazon, but an Amazon review, you have to take it with a grain of salt. They're worth about what the average opinion is worth. Some are valuable, some don't know what they're talking about, and then there's all the stuff in between. So I'm going to share my experience with the YIHUA 939D Plus soldering station. It's not a particularly powerful soldering station, but it is a copy of a tried and true ubiquitous Hako, and it's interchangeable with Hako tips. And I've been using it for quite a while now. It's been a pretty great workhorse, so I'm going to rehash some of this from memory. But when you buy this soldering station, you get, of course, the soldering station, you get the soldering iron, you get a few tips, you get a little bit of lead-free solder, which I don't recommend using. Just go ahead and use lead solder. It's better in every way. If you're a lead-free guy, go ahead and try it, but it might not be the best solder. I haven't used it. Your mileage may vary there. You might get a pair of tweezers. I really don't remember, but if you've seen the Amazon listings, you've seen what comes in the kit with it. You get a really nice metal soldering iron holder, and you get brass wool, which is great. I've only been using brass wool ever since I got this soldering station, and it has really kept my soldering iron very clean. I use the brass wool every time I use the iron, and I never have any issue with it. If you're thinking about getting a wet sponge to go with your brass wool, I wouldn't recommend it because, for one, the iron's hot, the water cools it down really quick, you get the heat shock, but two, there's just not really a benefit to it in my own experience. Maybe some others have some other experience where the wet sponge is useful, but in my experience, it's not really necessary. So the soldering station itself is substantial. It's not huge, but it's a little bit heavy because it has a linear power supply in it, a big transformer, and the power cable is directly attached, so it doesn't unplug, which is a little bit of a negative, but if you don't plan on reconfiguring your space very often, it's not that big a deal. If you're okay with the length of cord that comes on it, it's not that big a deal. And you get roughly 5 to 6 feet of cable. Now, the soldering iron does unplug from the station, and the tips are interchangeable. So the tips this thing comes with, they're all right. They get the job done, but they don't last very long. And you get a little variety pack. You get a big cone tip and a medium cone tip, a small cone tip, a chisel tip. But I found as these tips started to wear out, specifically the cone tip, which is the one I use all the time, I also recommend the chisel tip, which I didn't really get accustomed to until later on with a different set that I used at a work site, so not my personal iron. But what I noticed was it wasn't getting hot all the way to the tip anymore. I had to start heating up the stuff that I was working on, whether it be wires or circuit board traces or pins, whatever it was. I couldn't heat it up with the tip. I had to start heating directly from the side of the tip, even though the whole thing was still properly tinned. The tip just started wearing out. But for tips that came with the iron in a kit, they really don't do a bad job. The little cone tip, it kind of does do a bad job. It's too little, but the regular cone tip did all right. But I've seen people recommending to replace those with Hako brand tips, which those are going to be your best bet, highest quality tips. But I got a set of inexpensive Solder Fun brand cone tips, and at the time I should have also got some chisel tips, but cone tips are what I was using, so it's what I continue to use at home right now because they work well for me. They might not be the greatest tip, but they do work well for me. So I got this 10-pack of Solder Fun brand tips, and they last quite a long time, and they work very well. I recommend getting Solder Fun tips to go with your soldering station. Now, the soldering station is temperature adjustable, And I can't necessarily speak to the accuracy of the regulation of the temperature. I have not tested, but it works very well for me. I keep it at 730 degrees all the time, and rarely do I ever have to turn it up. 730 just works. And if you like to set your stuff in Celsius, then there's the toggle. You can go between Celsius and Fahrenheit. It's really simple no matter which way you like it. And for reference, that's 322 degrees Celsius, 730 Fahrenheit. I believe this is a 22 watt iron. It says so on the back of it. It's been so long since I bought it now, I don't remember what it was advertised as. But I never have a hard time heating things up with it. That's partially because the iron has so much mass itself. It's not like anything crazy heavy, but once you let it heat up, it has enough heat in it where if you have something larger to heat up, it usually does a good job getting that nice and hot. And smaller things is a breeze, no big deal at all. So it really uses those 22 watts efficiently. When you turn it on, it's relatively quick to heat up. It's not as slow as a bare bones plug in the wall iron, but it's not lightning fast either. What you're seeing now is a clip of me turning on the soldering station and the stopwatch at roughly the same time, give or take a split second. And you can see in real time about how long the iron takes to heat up. So you can watch the temperature climb on the display. When you turn it on, it starts with the temperature you set it to, and then it begins to show what the current temperature is. So if you guys are finding this information helpful at all, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you're into soldering and electronics content, consider subscribing and check out some other videos on the channel. And if there's anything you would like to see, or if you see something behind me that looks interesting that you would like me to talk about or show how to use or give a review on, and leave a comment down below if there's anything specific you would like to see me do. So to get up to temperature at 730 degrees Fahrenheit or 322 Celsius, it took about 49 seconds. And that's really not bad. You can turn it on while you're doing something else and preparing, and then by the time you're ready to use it, it's hot and it's ready to go. This review isn't really a comprehensive review on all of the specifics of this soldering station, but it's my experience with it and my advice regarding it. And being that this is a very cheap Chinese brand, I got this soldering station for $50 several years ago now. I don't remember how many. And with that, you get spotty quality control. So I happen to get a great unit that has been a great workhorse for me. I can leave it on for hours. These don't have a sleep mode. So if you're going to not use it for hours, then don't leave it on for hours. But if you're using it on and off, it's okay to be left on. I've had absolutely zero issues, and this thing just keeps chugging along. But being that it is a cheaper Chinese brand, oftentimes the quality control is where they skimp out, and you could get a dud. So there's always that to think about when you're getting a cheaper product. But even the cheaper Chinese brands these days are doing better with the customer service. So if you do happen to get a dud, you could probably get it replaced through them fairly easily, or at the very least you can return it to Amazon if it doesn't work as advertised. Especially if you're a Prime member. Amazon, if they are keeping up with their reputation, they love to serve their Prime members. So off the top of my head, the pros to this soldering iron are it heats up fairly quickly, the tips are interchangeable, the iron is even interchangeable if it would happen to fail, the temperature is adjustable, and it comes with a substantial metal stand and brass wool. Those are the features that I have found to be very useful with this soldering station. And then there are a few cons. One of them has to do with the type of iron it is, and this even exists in the Taco original version of this soldering iron, is that it's a lower power than some other irons. So if you have something that really sucks up a lot of heat, like a heat sink, then you could have some issues with getting enough heat into it quick enough to make your joint. But that's not with this unit in particular. That's just with this style of iron, which this unit happens to be. Just something to be aware of if you're in the market for soldering irons at all. Another is the temperature adjustment is a little bit finicky because it has a regular potentiometer. So it just has about a 270 degree sweep, and you have a large range of temperatures you can cover with that knob. So if you want a very specific temperature, it can take just a little bit of finesse to get that to sit in the right spot. It's not necessarily hard, it's just a little bit annoying sometimes. But the good thing is it keeps its spot really well. Once it's set, it stays set. It's just easy to unset if you happen to knock the knob. The power switch is on the side. I would rather it be on the front, but that's a minor con. It's more of a con if you have your equipment and stuff all set side by side, because then you have to leave a gap for access to your power switch. But for me, it's not really an issue, it's just kind of an inconvenience. And then the last con that I can think of is the power cable is directly attached, as I mentioned earlier. It can just make things more difficult when moving stuff around. And the pros and cons were off the top of my head because I really wanted to keep those the things that really stick out. If I were to kind of pre-rehearse and list those things out beforehand, I might end up listing some things that aren't all that significant, but by keeping it off the top of my head, then I'm sharing with you the things that really stick out to me after years of using this iron. But overall, I do recommend this iron and even this brand. Because I bought this soldering station, I've bought a couple other of their products, a hot air rework station and a desoldering pump, desoldering gun, both of which function well. If you have a larger budget, then I would recommend going with a YIHUA unit or even looking into Metcal. And Metcal stuff's a little bit different. They have some models where the temperature is set by the tip specifically, and it's in the construction of the tip, which is great temperature regulation, but it means you only have that one temperature. And they sell them in, I think, 600, 700, and 800 degrees. So you don't get a lot of granularity there. But if you're in the market for something cheap or something you just want to start out with, the YIHUA stuff is great. And I've been using the 939D Plus for years now. And really, I don't see a reason to upgrade. So 2 thumbs up, I recommend. If this review was helpful, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. And if you like soldering content, electronics content, and electronics repair content, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell so you'll know when future videos come out. I have some tutorials planned. I have some more projects planned. Right now I'm currently working on repairing a water damaged Netgear Wi-Fi access point. And I'm thinking I'm going to be able to save it, but I'll only know once I get the parts replaced that need to be replaced. I was not able to open up the shielding cans, so I'm not sure if there are parts under there that have failed, but it basically has a failed power supply. So if you're interested in seeing what happens with that, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified when it comes out. I'll see you guys in the next one.